Hello everybody, welcome to the video today. So today what I wanted to talk about was the formula Liuwei Di Huang. So this is also known as the Romania 6 formula. So this is a very important formula. It's a very commonly used formula. You will see this is the representative formula or the foundational formula for kidney yin deficiency. So this formula sort of represents how you would treat kidney yin deficiency. You'll see that a lot of formulas that are used to treat kidney yin deficiency are based off of this formula. So other than just Liuwei Di Huang, so all of its modifications, so Chuju Di Huang, Mingmu Di Huang, Zibai Di Huang, but then also you'll see that formulas that came later, such as Zhou Yin and Zhou Wan, even though these do not have all of the ingredients of Liuwei Di Huang inside there, they have the concepts or the principles of Liuwei Di Huang inside of those formulas. But for today, so we're just going to talk about Liuwei Di Huang and how you can look at this formula as a way to represent how you would treat kidney yin deficiency and how to understand kidney yin deficiency. So a little bit of history for this formula. So even though this formula has been around for so long, it's not necessarily a classical formula. So this Liuwei Di Huang actually comes from the formula. So Jingui Shenqiwan or Shenqiwan or Bawei Di Huang, which is from the Jingui Yaolie by Zhang Zongjing from the Han Dynasty. So with Jingui Shenqiwan, so it actually takes it has Liuwei Di Huang inside of it, and then they also add into it Fuzi and Guizi, or actually Jingui Shenqiwan. So since it came first, it was Fuzi, Guizi, then plus Shudi Huang, Shanyao, Shanzui, Mudan Pizza, Shan Fuling. And so what happens is they get rid of the Fuzi and the Guizi, and then it becomes Liuwei Di Huang. But you have to ask yourself, so why did they get rid of the Fuzi and the Guizi to create Liuwei Di Huang? So again, Jingui Shenqiwan is the original formula. Liuwei Di Huang was, and so Jingui Shenqiwan for kidney yang deficiency. So Liuwei Di Huang was actually created as a pediatric formula. And so usually with children, so children tend to have, they are more yang, they are more heat in nature, and they have immature yin. So with this Jingui Shenqiwan, since it is for kidney yang deficiency, the Fuzi and the Rogui inside these formulas are to help to tonify the yang. So the idea is that you cannot tonify yang without having yin. So we can see that this Fuzi and the Guizi is sort of like the spark, whereas the Shudi, Shanyao, Shanzui, Mudan Pizza, Shefuling, so these are like the fuel to spark that fire. So you add them together, and then that's what creates yang. So for children, so for pediatrics, so remember, they are more yang in nature. They have immature yin. So they don't have enough yin, but they have a lot of yang. So this is why with children, they're very active. They run around, they jump, they play. They get tired very easily though, because even though they have all that yang, they don't have enough yin to support that. So with Liuwei Di Huang, because children have enough yang, so they get rid of the Fuzi, they get rid of the Guizi, and they just add the yin components into, so from Jingui Shenqiwan, as the formula to help to treat children. So in this case, they would give this formula so to children to help to nourish their yin. So because they have enough yang, they just need the yin nourishing part of it. And so it's a very popular formula. Later on, it begins to be used just to treat yin deficiency in general. So usually with this yin deficiency, they'll see that it's people that tend to have heat signs that are coming from a deficiency rather than an excess. And so how does this formula, how does this represent the treatment principle for treating yin deficiency? So yin deficiency, remember, so yin is a material substance. So when yin is deficient, you have a loss of material substance. So it doesn't have, let's say, if the yin, to use the analogy of fire and wood, so yin would be the wood, and then the fire, so it'd be the yang. And so in this case, we have less wood that's here. So this fire, so even though there's less wood, the fire is going to start to flicker upwards. It won't have a root. So sort of like when you have a candle that's starting to burn down and you're seeing its last bit of life before a candle goes out. So this heat is flaring upwards, but it's not rooted inside the body. So what you need to do is we need to create more yin. We need to give a place to anchor this fire back down so it's not just flickering up there. So that flickering up a fire, so that's going to be the night sweats, the hot flashes, can also be insomnia. So these are all going to be signs of yin deficiency per se. So usually you'll check their pulse, it'll be a thin pulse, but it might be a little bit more rapid. So the thinness represents that there's not enough yin to fill up the vessel, while it's rapid, meaning that heat is moving a lot faster inside the body. So one, since we know that with yin deficiency, we're going to have heat that's flaring upwards. So that's sort of a representative symptom of yin deficiency, because if yin is deficient, yang has to be in excess. It has to be more full. So, but it's not an excess heat per se, but excess heat. Like, so for example, excess stomach heat, blood heat, it can start to lead to yin deficiency as it burns up the yin. But when there's enough yin and the yang is in excess, it's sort of like you have a big fire with enough fuel for that fire, but eventually it'll start to turn into deficiency. So one, we have to look at that we have the kidneys in the lower jiao, we have the middle jiao, and we have the heart in the upper jiao. So this heat is going to start to flare upwards, and so it's agitating the heart, so that could create insomnia, but it's also going to push the fluid out of the heart, so that's going to create the night sweating. And because this heat is going outwards, it's going to start to create the hot flashes as well. So one, we want to take this heat that's in the upper part of the body and we want to bring it back down into the kidneys. So how do we do that? So if we look at the formula, Liu Wei Di Huang Wan, so we know that we need to increase the material substance in the kidneys. We know that we need to be able to astringe or bring this heat back down. And then we're also going to need something that's going to hold everything together. So when we look at these ingredients, how do these represent that function inside the body? So one, we need to bring everything down. Looking at these ingredients, which ones are going to direct the circulation of yang and qi inside the body down back into the kidneys? So one, which one of these has a descending action? So we can look at zexie and fuling. So these two herbs, they have a descending action. Because remember, they promote urination. Because of its ability to promote urination, it has a downward action. Which is why if you have a patient that has more spleen qi deficiency or qi sinking, you probably wouldn't want to use fuling because it's going to descend the qi downwards. That's why you see in the formula Buzong Ichi Tang, so even though it has the principles of Sijunzi Tang inside there, they get rid of the fuling and they replace it with Huang Qi. So Huang Qi, while it still drains dampness, has a upward action. So, but in this case, so that emphasizes how we can look at fuling and its downward action. So these two are going down. And zexie, so it's also going to have the ability to not only go downwards, it's also going to clear away this residual heat that's in the upper part of the body, this residual heat from the yang, which is flared upwards. So, but other than helping to bring this yang back down, so you're going to need something that, so these just descend. We also need something that's going to go inwards into the body. So looking at these herbs, which one is going to have more of an inward direction, which is going to help to guide the yang back into the kidneys? So shanzui, so remember shanzui is sour, it's astringent. So because of that sour nature, it has the ability to nourish yin. So it has the ability to generate yin. So it's sour, it brings everything back in. So shanzui is going to help to bring things back into the body, while Zi Shen Fuling are going to direct things downward. So once we bring everything back down and into the body, well, we had kidney yin deficiency, so what's going to happen if we just leave it there? Well, if there's nothing to hold everything in place, so everything just floats back up again, which is why we need some type of glue to hold everything together. So when we think of glue, we think of sticky, we think of cloying, we think of heavy. So that's also yin in nature as well. So that's that material substance. So which of the herbs is going to have that effect inside the body? So in this case, we have Shu Di Huang and Shanyao. So Shanyao, it can help to nourish yin, can help with kidney essence. It has a bit of a sticky quality to it. So if you've ever peeled shanyao, cooked with shanyao, if you touch it, it has this stickiness to it. So that stickiness is sort of what represents yin. This represents that substance in nature, this cloying idea. So with the shanyao, so it's going to help with the kidney as well as with the spleen. And the Shu Di Huang is going to go with the shanyao as well. So Shu Di Huang is very sticky, very cloying. So if you have a patient that has spleen qi deficiency, so and they take Shu Di Huang, so it's going to make their digestive system worse. So it's going to cause more bloating, cause more gas. It's going to create more stagnation because it's very heavy. So we have shanyao, which can help to assist the spleen, and then Shu Di Huang, which is going to be the main heavy herb inside this formula. So the Shu Di Huang is going to be this glue that holds this yang back inside the kidneys, so to preserve the yin. So we can put Shu Di over here. And so then last, so we have Mu Dampi. So Mu Dampi, along with Zi Xie. So like I mentioned, Zi Xie helps to clear away heat. So same thing with Mu Dampi. So remember, it helps to clear away both excess and deficient heat. So Mu Dampi is going to help to, so sort of the fire extinguisher up top that's going to help to get rid of the rest of this heat that's there. So this is how this formula, Liu D11, how it's treating kidney yin deficiency, and how it represents the treatment of kidney yin deficiency. So we can look at these herbs as the principle. So if we're treating kidney yin deficiency, so one, we're going to need something that clears heat. So in this case, the Mu Dampi, the Zi Xie. We're going to need something that goes downwards. So direct whatever yang is floating to the top. So these herbs that are going downwards would be the Zi Xie and the Fuling. We're also going to need something that brings the substance back into the kidney. So something sour, something astringent. So astringe the yang back into the yin. So remember, that's going to be this idea of shanzui over here. And then last, let's move this. So last, we're going to need something cloying to hold everything in place. So something cloying, and something's going to nourish yin, because you need something heavy to hold it there. And so remember, that's going to be primarily the Shu Di Huang, and to a lesser extent, the Shanyao. So this is how you can look at these ingredients and see how they're all working together. So let's clean this up a bit. So again, we have the kidneys in the lower jiao, and this yang that's floating up. So what's going to go down? The Fuling the zhe. So what's going to go in? Oh, the shanzuyi. What's going to clear away this residual heat? So again, the zhe and the mudampi. And then what's going to hold the whole thing together? So this will be the Huang and Shanyao. So in this case, you know that if you have a patient that, say, doesn't have much yin deficiency, or if they're having a little bit more of the heat signs, then you can always, or even if they're having the yin deficiency with some heat signs, but their spleen is a little bit more deficient, so you know that we can always cut back on the Shu Di Huang. So because you don't want it to be so greasy. But then also we can start to look at, let's say, hey, this person has some significant kidney yin deficiency, and they're having a lot a more excess amount of heat, so much more noticeable amount of heat. So you've always seen these patients that come in where they have very excessive hot flashes, very excessive night sweats. So in this case, we want something that's going to help to clear away more of the heat. So which herbs would those be? So think for a moment, which modification of Liu D11 is going to be better at helping to clear away this fire from yin deficiency inside the body. So remember that we have Zibai Di-Huang-Wan. So this Zibai Di-Huang-Wan is going to be even stronger at helping to clear away this heat. So remember Zibai, so we have Zimu, and then Huangbai. So Zimu and Huangbai added into Liu Di11 is what creates this Zibai Di11. So remember, Huangbai is what helps to clear away heat. So in the lower jiao, so it can help to clear away heat from the kidneys. Zimu also is going to help to clear away more excess heat, while at the same time helping to nourish yin as well. So we can see that it's still fitting in that same idea of Liu Di11. It's just treating a further progression of kidney yin deficiency. So I hope this has been helpful for helping you to understand some of the ingredients a bit in Liu Di-Huang. So try to think about it, try to contemplate it, look at some of the other modifications of Liu Di-Huang, look at some of the other formulas that treat kidney yin deficiency, and see if you can see this same thing happening in the formulas. So for yin deficiency, there's usually going to be something that clears heat, that goes downwards, that astringes, and that also has a cloying nature. So most of the formulas are going to fit into that presentation. So depending on the severity of the kidney yin deficiency. So again, if there's not much kidney yin deficiency, maybe they won't have something that's going to be necessarily very cloying. But maybe if there's more significant kidney yin deficiency, much more excess heat from this yin deficiency, you might have more herbs such as, like we discussed with Zibai D11, that focus more on helping to clear this heat. So try to think about it, try to contemplate it. It'll really help you to understand these formulas a bit better. All right, thank you for watching.